All right, everybody, welcome back. Episode 40 of Sports with Skids. Today we have a very, very special guest, a Johnstown representative, and he just finished up his last season in New Hampshire. Everybody, welcome Caleb Burke. Caleb, thanks for joining the show, brother.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, no problem at all. We'll start off pretty recent. So you're down right now in South Carolina. Is that correct? You're kind of training for your pro day and for that next leap to potentially the NFL. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm down here for a couple weeks, or yeah, a couple, about 3 months. Rehabbing some stuff up and get my body feeling to the best that it can before I have my pro day in March.
Nice, man. What part of South Carolina are you at, and who are you training with, like specifically, like the I guess I don't know if it's like a factory or just a guy. How's that going?
Yeah, I'm down in Charleston right now. It's beautiful down here. Definitely, better, a little bit better weather than what's going on in Pennsylvania right now.
Right.
With a performance gym called IHT. It's run by a guy named Jared Slater, who who's not much older than me. He's 26 years old and he's a very smart guy. He's really big into the neuro aspect of training. Everything kind of starts with your brain, so it's kind of cool. There's not too many people out there who are advanced like this cat at such a young age.
Mhm.
Um, I really enjoy that. It's cool getting to learn about a bunch of different stuff about the body and just doing as much as I can to give me the best opportunity to go to the next level.
Gotcha. Now, was this like, did you reach out to him? Did he reach out to you? Like, how does that kind of work? I think that's interesting for people that don't really aren't involved, I guess, in this to hear about.
Right. So, basically getting a gym for pro day, for your pro day, for your combine is kind of almost like getting re-recruited again, in a way to when you're getting recruited out of high school to play a sport. People kind of want you to go somewhere, like they want to have you, they welcome you. Um, so I actually tore my PCL my last regular season game against Maine. Uh, First play I was in the game. Second play of the game, caught a pass, ran for about 60 yards. Got tackled from shoelace tackle and fell weird. So there's a big trainer up in New England who reached out to me and he's like, "Hey man, I really wanted to have you come rehab with me, but there's these guys down in Charleston, South Carolina that I trust with my life that can do your rehab, and I don't think I could do your rehab as well as they could." So he ended up, making some connections between me and then Jared down here in Charleston, and we got along really well. And I really liked what he had his pitch. Very intelligent guy. So I put my trust in my guy up in New England, and he sent me down here, and everything's been going great so far.
Nice, man. Well, yeah, I hope the recovery is going good, and that's cool insight to hear. Like basically getting re-recruited,
Yeah.
go to training places and everything like that. So, one last question I have, just like about pro days and stuff. Are you just doing New Hampshire, or have you been looking around at other colleges to maybe join to do a couple of those?
So the cool thing is about UNH is, well, just New England in general is it's such a small, such small states up there. So every state in New England is considered one. So New England is
Mm,
considered a state for your pro day. Typically, you're only allowed to do your pro day either in your state that you played in or the state that you're from.
mm,
Um, but if you played in any state in New England, you can go to any college in New England for your pro day.
nice.
So I'm actually going to go to Holy Cross. They have a beautiful indoor, and they get a good outcome every single year. That's where a couple of my former teammates and best friends went to do their pro day for Dylan Lauby, who's now with the Raiders,
Hmm.
Wande Owens, who's now with the Bills. Those guys they uh, they went to Holy Cross as well. Some of them went to UConn.
Hmm.
So Holy Cross, I just believe is going to be the best for me. It's going to get me the most light shined on me. So that's where I'm going to do my pro day.
Gotcha. That's cool. I didn't know that about like you can only do it in your state or the state that you're from. So that's some pretty cool insight to hear.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Caleb, real quick, excuse me. Uh, can you expand on your relationship with New Hampshire, how the school treated you, what the culture is like? for the people who might be interested in going to school?
Right. So I got to UNH in 2020. A best friend of mine, his name's Colin Instone, who was a high level athlete out of Johnstown as well, in basketball and football. Mike, I don't know if you've heard the name before.
He was a lineman, D lineman, right? Yeah.
Yeah. He was a year older than I was, and he got up to UNH in 2019. So UNH actually found me through Colin, which was neat. And then I went up there for my official visit, and it kind of made everything go a little bit smoother with my big buddy being up there already. So I go up there and have a great official visit. And the first thing that I know, I've only taken one official. I had a bunch set up, didn't really need to go anywhere else. Went up there, the guys that are all there, it's a culture that's different than most places. Most locker rooms, when you talk about your culture, you have your divides within the team, your cliques and your groups. Sometimes offense doesn't talk to defense, corners don't talk to wideouts, stuff like that, and everybody kind of stays away from each other. But like that wasn't the case. I went up there and I met damn near everybody on the team my first day on my official visit, and those guys made me feel like I was already with them, before I even had committed, which was, fantastic. Like I couldn't ask for anything else. It's a different environment up there. Just, walking around downtown, when you walk on the street and somebody's walking past you that you don't know, you give them a smile and you say hello and ask them how their day's going, which is completely different than Johnstown. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Mind your own, keep your head on the swivel tight. In Johnstown, but up there, it's a very safe place with great people that everybody loves the UNH Cats, and especially if you're an athlete there, you're very well respected, and I love that aspect of it as well. There's no hate towards any sports teams up there. It's all love towards anybody. It doesn't matter if you're in a frat, if you're a regular student, or if you're an athlete. Everybody looks at everybody the same, which is really neat, and it's there's not many other universities I could say that they have that relationship with the rest of the population. It's not the campus and the university. And then along with the coaches and how I was treated up there, I mean, I can't complain at all. I was up there for 6 years, and there's a reason for that. There's not a whole lot of people that can say that they've been in a college for 4,
Right.
and I'm here saying that I was there for 6 and I did all my time up there. You know what I mean? So like that speaks volumes on the program that is being run up there. I didn't want to leave. I could have had the opportunity to. I did okay my redshirt junior year, and me and my head coach at the time, Rick Santos, who's now at the University of Penn, had a long sit down, and I was like, "Hey, coach, like I don't want to leave you, like, but I just want to I want to finish this thing out." And he's like, "Man, like stay with me, like I'll take care of you," which he did. And I don't regret it for anything. I really enjoy my time up there. All the coaches, I have a relationship with them outside of football, which is even more important. Anything I need, I could reach out to those guys, and that's the volume of the people that are up there. And it's not just, there's a new coach coming in with a new staff, but the new coach that's coming in is a UNH alum who played quarterback there at 15, and he was a dog. And, they're going to bring guys around that enforce the same culture and embody the same culture that has been at UNH for the past 30 years.
And I think that's extremely important for a lot of young kids to hear, because sometimes it's not all about the NIL money. I was going to ask you if the transfer portal was something that you might have been interested in. It's clear to me that it wasn't, and that's super dope that you were able to develop those relationships with your teammates, with your coaches. Let me ask you, were you comped any free meals, when you went out, because you were a ball player? Or,
What's that?
did it treat you that well out there, or?
Yeah, I mean, everybody out there treats you well, man. Like, if you got UNH football across your chest in New Hampshire, you're, like I was saying, like you're super well respected. People will go out of their way to come up and, talk to you and treat you and acknowledge you, to let you know that they're proud of your last week's win, or they want to come up and ask your name and number. you know, whenever you tell them that and they're like, oh my gosh, like I watched you last week, like he had a great game. Like it's a cool feeling, you know what I mean?
For sure. I love it,
Yeah,
man.
I want to take it back a little bit, but I do got to give UNH a shout out. It seems like they're very good with their alumni. I know your coach uh, Santos. He also played at the university as well too. I think he was a quarterback there as well.
Yeah.
So it seems like they keep that strong pipeline and want to bring people back who know the university and the culture. So hats off to UNH for that. But I want to take it back a while ago, kind of talking about like your upbringing and everything. So for those of you who don't know, Caleb again is from the Johnstown area. He didn't go to the same school as us, but he went to Richland. Now, I always remember Richland when they were growing up. They were always good, but they weren't like great. And then it was like something just kind of a switch flipped. Like when I was in high school, then they were competing against like the Aliquippas, and then when you were in high school, consistently winning the D6 and going on to the state playoffs. So just growing up in Johnstown, playing at Richland, like was there any experience that kind of shaped your development as a player or anything that you saw with the school that kind of clicked to get you guys to that next level?
Yeah, I mean, you know, from most of the people that are going to watch this that are from Johnstown, you know, you probably heard of my dad, Coach Burke, who
Mm-hmm. A
longtime basketball,
beast.
yeah, he was a longtime basketball coach, you know, old school, hard nosed. You know, he bring my group up, and then the kids, you know, a few grades above me, and you know, and in the football aspect of things, like, you know, Kyle Flick and your Matt Schaefer's, your Johnny Rizzo's, you know, guys of that caliber, they started the whole thing, and that's the guys that we grew up watching. Um, you know, those are the guys that I looked up to. My dad was a basketball coach, and he had those guys in the gym, and I couldn't ever get away from him. Tanner Solarsik, for another example, who's a fantastic high school running back. Those are the guys that we all wanted to be like. And you know, that lit a fire under our ass because we wanted to be those guys that were playing in those huge games. We wanted, you know, we talk about, you know, having the whole town come to watch us play. Like, we want the town to shut down whenever we have a game. And that lit a little fire under our ass for the kids in our grade, and you know, the grades surrounding that I'm gonna, you know, that are gonna be my teammates one day. And that's just the kind of high school experience that we wanted to live. You know, Coach Bailey, and then, you know, my dad, Greg Burke, they enforced that. Like, you know, go ahead, you guys want to mess around at practice today? All right, like we're gonna figure this out then. You know, we're gonna straighten your ass out. So, you know, there was never anything given. It was all earned, and you know, we ended up having a great, you know, high school career in both football and basketball. You know, I went to the District 6 championship 4 times for basketball, won 2 of them, and then I went to the District 6 championship for football twice and won both of those. So it was, you know, everything definitely paid off.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got to shout out Kyle Flick. I went to school with him actually at Shippensburg, and he was always the guy that was like, Caleb Burke, you got to check out Caleb Burke. Like, he's a baller. And I remembered your name from going to see, like, when I was in high school, going to support like Johnstown, Pee Wee, and they were playing against Richland and Westmont. So you were on my radar for a while, but your dad is a hell of a basketball coach as well, too. I know he round those boys into shape as well. And then one last question that I have more so about like high school. So I'm a big proponent of I think kids should play, you know, numerous sports. I think nowadays you get these parents to bring up kids and they want them to strictly focus on one sport. So with you being a multi-sport guy and being very successful, you were obviously 1,000 point scorer in basketball. You set a lot of accolades in football. You know, was there anything like how did basketball and other sports kind of help out your football skills or vice versa? Do you have like any input on that?
Yeah, actually, I got a quick little story for you. I was in 8th grade or 7th grade, and my dad, you know, my thing was in hoops, like I could always dribble the ball. Like, you know, if I'm not making a shot, go dribble the ball and create a shot for somebody, and you know, I'm not gonna let anyone take it from me. And the way that I would move with the basketball, you know, I was a young kid. I wouldn't translate the way that I move my body with a basketball onto the football field. My dad says, "Okay, have you ever tried to, you know, like almost like use some of like the moves that you do in basketball on the football field?" And I'm like, "No, no, Dad." he's like, just go try that. Like the next time that, try it the next time that you're out there. And, that's honest to God, true story. And I started to learn how to, kind of use what I do for hoops and put it onto the gridiron. And, essentially like I'm never going to forget that story. And it changed the way that I play. Almost correlating a crossover with a juke move.
Mm-hmm.
Which is real. Like it's the realest thing that I could, like, honest to God, like he told me that and I did it, and I still do the same thing to this day. Like the same move after I get in open space, and I think about it all the time when I see it. But that's the honest to God truth, man. Like I think it's so crazy now that parents aren't letting or telling their kids like, hey, you need to quit basketball because, we need to get you to a Division I scholarship for football. Like I and then if you don't get that Division I scholarship for football, now you missed out an entire chapter of your life, not enjoying another high school sport that you loved at one time, just because your parents weren't there to tell you that you should be playing it. And I'm not going to say steered you in the wrong direction, but they guided you to make a different decision.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree with the kids quitting sports that they love to try to focus on another one. I don't know. That's just always take. My dad has always had me and Kobe Bailey, Coach Bailey's son, the football coach. Had us two always playing basketball and football. And if one of us ever said like, "Hey, I'm not going to play basketball this year," our dads would be like, "Yeah, you're absolutely nuts." Like, so that's just kind of how we operated at Richland at that time. I don't really know how the kids are at Richland now.
Mm-hmm.
For all those years that I was still involved in the school and watching everybody, there wasn't too many kids that would quit one sport. And you're right, it is a thing that's getting more popular now, which is sad. But
Yeah.
that's my take on it.
I got you. Yeah, you're the legend of your dad continues. I might need you to send me his number next time I'm in Johnstown. Got to get a beer with him, pick his brain. But
you guys in there for hours.
absolutely.
Yeah, speaking of basketball translating to football, you can see it in the NFL. You see it like Myles Garrett, you see Stephon Diggs, and you can see it in the way that you run routes specifically. I was watching your tape, bro. I wanted to ask you about that leap you kind of took from your sophomore to your junior year. And would you compare your junior year to your senior year? I know you missed a game. I think you missed your first game your junior year, if I'm not mistaken, and you only played 12?
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, man, can you explain to me that leap and what it takes to go from freshman year to junior year and that hard work, what it all entails and what you put into it to go from somebody new to a number one.
Right. Yeah, man. I mean, my college experience is kind of like nobody else's. Like I had 6 years, which as of right now, I'm the last class that graduated that's ever going to have a 6 year to play college football. So my situation was kind of unique. Like I went in as a freshman to UNH, and that whole year didn't count at all for athletics. Like I basically was just a student getting free credits. Like it was nuts. And then my sophomore year, I come back. I'm a true freshman again on the football field, which was tough because nobody left. Like your whole 105-man roster is coming right back, and you're competing against the same guy. Typically, that older guy is out of there now. Now you have your chance to bloom. So it was tough. But he's the guy that I'm talking about. It's like my older brother. He's actually my receivers coach this year. His name's Sean Coyne. Fantastic wide receiver. I've learned a lot of stuff that I got in my bag from Sean. He was 3 years older than me, but him getting that extra year back, was a year for me to learn, but also a year for me to like, all right, I'm going to have to wait one more year because they're going to redshirt me my sophomore year, which is crazy. So, I go into my redshirt freshman year, which is now my junior year of college. And it's the first time I've stepped and played a football game in 3 years since high school. And everything is fast, man. Like when people say like, oh, like you're just a big fish in a small pond, like that's the honest God truth. Nobody understands how fast that game really moves whenever you're not in practice and now you're on the game field with other guys who are the big fish from everywhere, all over the country. So everything moved really fast for me my redshirt freshman year. Luckily, I had Max Brosmer as my quarterback, who's now, started a couple of games Vikings this year.
Yep.
Hey Maxie, we're in the huddle. Hey Maxie, what do I got? Like I have no clue. Run a freaking dig. All right, I got you. I go out there, freaking run a dig, and we laugh about it now. But everything moved really fast for me. And I was competing against a guy that played at a high level as well to play that position in the slot. So that was tough. And then the year after that, we had Dylan Lowby, who's now with the Raiders. They moved him all around. They had him start to play some more slot. So, as upset I was that, I wasn't playing as much as I wanted to, I ended up with like around 400 yards. But Dylan was playing in the slot as well, but I also got to learn off of him. I took it as a learning step. Obviously is the right guy to want to learn off of. Now he's making a lot of money and, playing in the big leagues. But after that, after they left, Max and Dylan both, I kind of had to have a real conversation with myself that now for this university and this team to succeed, I'm one of the most important parts. And if I don't take a leap, I'm not just letting myself down, but I'm letting my coach down who recruited me to go to his university to get his paycheck so that his family can eat. Mm-hmm. And back to my dad again, like that's a conversation that me and him have had. Like he sat me down and he's like, Caleb, like what you need to understand is these coaches are recruiting you so that their kids can eat. And that's just something that I always keep in the back of my mind. Like, why not take this opportunity? Why, like, if I don't do the right thing, I'm going to regret it forever. So I took a big leap into that and I would stay 2 weeks at Dylan Lowby's house down in Miramar Lakes in Florida. And I'd go down and I'd work out with him. I'd watch everything that he did. I'd eat everything that he did, like the same exact thing that he ate. When he wanted to go, he'd say, hey, Caleb, I'm going to go do some extra recovery. All right, give me 30 seconds. I'm coming. I'm following you, right behind you, following like a duck. I'm a duckling, man, like following him around everywhere, taking as much information in. And those small things that I did took me to that next level of my game. As Tanaka was saying, like what made me go to that next level, I watched every single thing that Dylan Lowby did, the way that he prepared, Max Brosmer, the way that he prepared. Wande Owens, who's now with the Bills, who's my teammate, the way that he prepared. I want to learn off everybody. I'm a vacuum. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Those little things, because it's not always just the lifting part of football and staying in shape that takes you to the next level. It's the things that you do outside off of the turf and outside of the weight room. That take you to that next step. And honest to God, I couldn't thank those guys anymore. I tell them all the time, like, I appreciate everything that they've done. Even though if they don't think Dave did anything, I've learned so much off of those guys.
Yeah. And I'm glad because I'm looking at your numbers here from 25, this year, recent year. Okay. And I wanted to ask you, you're always consistent. I love the way they move you around. You really took a huge leap at the end of the year. I think your last 5 games, you went well over 80 yards in 4 out of 5 of them, and you would have went for back-to-back 100-yard games had you not got hurt versus Maine. As far as game planning goes, bro, especially for a wide receiver, I mean, is it really like do they involve you? Do they tell you coming into the league like when they're game planning versus Bryant, for example, who you just absolutely obliterate every time you play them? It seems like. Is it like, yo, Caleb, this is your week, this is the matchup for you, or is it just like an on the fly situation? Just okay, Caleb's open, that's the read, I got him,
Right. It's a little bit of both. That's actually, that's a great question. I get that question sometimes. you have your games that are going to be your games that are always going to be close no matter what. Defenses that like to move around a lot, high coverages, and do rotate the defense and spin everything. You have those weeks that's going to be a little bit more difficult to kind of guarantee like what you're going to be getting and what it's going to be harder for our offensive coordinator and our quarterbacks to ID the coverages. So weeks like that are the weeks that everything can move a little bit slower if we don't figure it out early. So you kind of know going into the week, we have our prep days and our third down days on Wednesday. So you kind of can get a feel for like, all right, like, am I gonna get this rock this week, whatever. But then you also have your games where defenses believe that their DBs are better than your receivers. And those are the games that like wideouts start licking their chops. You know what I mean? For example, William and Mary, we knew that every third down, like every second and long, and then anywhere in the field in third down, they're running man. For a series of the game against William and Mary, we know they're going to run man. I run a deep post and I score. So those are your games where you're like, okay, like we know, like if it's not very hard for an offensive coordinator to call an offense if you know that they're going to run man, because now you give free rein to your quarterback to pick his matchup and go to his guy. Because every quarterback has a guy. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they tell you. They got. So if you take that stress off that quarterback's shoulders, it makes the game a lot easier. Then you get that other team. You get that other team behind, and you're in control of the clock, and everything's going well for the Cats.
Mike, I don't want to keep pushing you to the side here, but I have a question that actually coincides with what Caleb just said here. So last year you had Morgan Seth as your quarterback. This year, Matt VC. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Bezla.
Bezla. Okay.
Yep.
What's the transition like there going? And you apparently were the guy seemingly for both quarterbacks. How did you build that relationship with both of them on the field? Did it click quick? How did that work out for you?
Yeah, actually, both of them clicked really quick. So Seth Morgan is actually from Mount Lebanon in Pittsburgh, which, we're up in New Hampshire. If people are from Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, it's typically Philadelphia. We don't have too many Western PA guys up at UNH. We have a couple kids from Erie, but nowhere around the Pittsburgh, Johnstown area. So me and him had that mutual connection really quick. Knew some of the same people. But also I wanted him to get that, to gain that trust from me early on. We were always spending a lot of time together, whether it's anything like, hey, bro, like I told him the first week that he was at school, like, brother, listen, if you don't want to sit in your apartment, I live in a 5-person house with 2 other receivers. Come over, come hang out. You could go sit in our living room. If we're not there, we'll be home. And that's kind of relationship that I got, that I gave out to Seth when I initially met him to, make him feel comfortable, gain that trust with him off the field that can, then correlate on. So we started off early, and, I feel that I was one of the guys that Seth could rely on if he was in a situation, in anything, but most importantly on the field. And then with Matt Vezza had actually, he was our second string quarterback while Seth transferred in from Shepherd. And, Matt's a bookworm, man. He's so wired in the game of football as if to how smart he is. And, they say that he's Brosmer's, mentee, coming up through. He's got a mind like Max, which is, he's phenomenal. You don't ever see that kid make the same mistake twice. But, Matt had, obviously watched us play the entire year before, and loved my gameplay, and I love his. He's a more mobile quarterback. I haven't had a true dual threat since I've been in college. Max is your more drop back guy. Seth can roll out a little bit. He's a great drop back passer as well, but Matt can he'll sprint out for you and do some cool things. And it was just neat that I felt like there's a younger kid who looked up to me and who trusted me. But I did everything to make sure that that trust could stay there. Yeah, we ended up having a really good connection early on. Hey, when you don't know what to do, Matt, what do you do? And he'd be like, throw number 8 the ball. I'm like, yeah, damn right. So we started that off pretty early, and everything went well for us.
Yeah, that was really cool to hear. It's not many times you get to hear how like the connection starts with the quarterback and a wide receiver. They don't really show that too much. So I got like a two-part question here for you, Caleb. So you've had a ton of big games, a lot of big performances. Is there any performance that's your favorite or that sticks out the most that you might be most proud of? And then two, what feels better, catching a touchdown pass or throwing a touchdown pass?
Um, for the first part, yeah, my favorite game that I've played, I it's they're neck and neck, but we played Campbell this past season. Um, earlier in that week, I got a phone call that one of my buddies had passed away. That was my age, from Johnstown, that I grew up with. So we go out, we play Campbell that week, and I didn't play the week before against Rhode Island with some knee issues, so I was marked questionable at the beginning of this game. And I really wanted to go. I really wanted to go home and be around my friends for a day during that week, and it just wasn't the best thing for me because I was already injured. Driving home would have been another 9 hours in the car. So I had a really hard week up at school. And then I didn't practice Tuesday or Wednesday, and then I practiced on Thursday. Finally started to tolerate the pain in my knee. We go out to Campbell, and I'm talking to the coaches, and they're telling me, like, listen, Caleb, like, you didn't practice all week. We're obviously going to play you. Like, you're going to start, but it's not like we don't have your game plan in because we didn't think you're going to play. So I'm like, that's fine. Like, I'll find a way to get the ball. I'll talk to Matt and my quarterback, and we end up figuring everything out. Well, we're losing the game, and or the game's tied in the third quarter, and we need something to spark us. It's the end of the third, going into the fourth, and the look that we got in practice that week, we stacked 2 receivers in the slot on the right side. They're going to press, and I knew that that's my opportunity to get around somebody and get behind the second level. And Matt throws up a Hail Mary ball. He didn't even know where I was at, and he threw that ball as high and far as he could. And with me being hurt, I haven't really ran as fast as I could for 2 weeks at that point. And there was something in me that gave me a little extra boost, and I ended up catching a ball, falling on the 2-yard line, and I didn't even see the ball go into my hands. That's I started crying right there when that happened. Just thinking my buddy who passed away, and everything that was going on within my life at that point. It was a cool moment that I knew that he caught that one for me, and it was pretty neat. And at this point, I wasn't having the production I wanted touchdown wise during the season. I stressed myself out too much about it. So that Campbell game finishes, and then this is why it's hard, because we play William and Mary next week, and I had a pretty good game against William and Mary. I
Pretty
think
good, 153.
Yeah, for 2 touchdowns, and after my first touchdown, I catch the ball, and I didn't even stop. I just kept running, and I run off to the sideline, and we have a packed stadium. It's a beautiful day outside, and I just start balling. I look up in the air, and my dad stands in the same spot every single game. Like at UNH, I know exactly where to look. He's right behind us. So I look up at my dad, and he's just pointing up in the air, and I start bawling like a little baby. That was my guy. So that was probably my favorite game ever. Was William and Mary. It's tough between that and Campbell, but William and Mary is probably my favorite game I've ever played in. It was a neat experience to kind of feel like you have people that are looking over top of you from upstairs.
Absolutely, man. Well, sorry for your loss there, but your boy was proud of you, definitely looking down, helped you catch that ball against Campbell. So that's awesome to hear, man. I like those stories.
Yeah.
And then that second part, man, what feels better, a touchdown catch or passing touchdown?
Uh, so I've thrown one touchdown in college. I've thrown two incompletions. Um, yeah, oh man, I that's hard because throwing a touchdown is really cool. It's really neat being on the other side of it. I haven't been on that other side since.
53 yards too. It wasn't no short one.
No, I haven't been on the other side of it since high school when I used to play quarterback. But I would probably still I would stick with catching a touchdown. It's great, that feeling that you have that you did it. You separated yourself from the guy who's guarding you, and when that ball goes into your hands, now it's in your hands literally to go run the ball in the rest of the way. So I'd probably say catching a touchdown. Yeah.
Spoken like a true wideout. Love it.
Caleb, real quick, at what point do you think you're going to be, for the fans out there, fully ready to go? I know you're down in South Carolina rehabbing and, getting ready for the pro day. When do you think you'll be 100%?
So this is gonna sound absolutely crazy, but these guys have technology down here that's going to blow up like really, really soon. That nobody else has. There's four people in the world or in the country right now that own one of these devices. It's called a Volta. It's basically like you guys know what a stim machine is?
Hmm.
It's a stim machine on steroids. Yeah. So like quite literally, like times 1,000. But it can build muscle and new tissue, scar tissue anywhere in your body. So oh I'm a month and 20 days out of tearing my PCL, and I can already jump and jog. So
Wow.
uh, I'm having me sprinting by this upcoming Tuesday. Yeah.
Man, nice, nice. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had my fair share of knee injuries. They're never any joke. So that's good to hear. So when you are all ready to go, the shackles are kind of off you. You could start doing a little bit more. Are there any specific drills that are upcoming at your pro day that you're looking to work on? Anything that you want to tweak a little bit?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to get to work on my 40. That was my 40 was kind of my thing in high school. That's kind of what got me, my looks from colleges, which was neat. I was one of the faster guys. I haven't ran a 40 in a long time, so I'm excited to work with somebody who really like truly trains how to take some time off your 40, which will be neat. I'm working with an with a track coach that coached in high level Division 1 and has a couple gold in the Olympics. So
Wow.
yeah, I'll be working with him, which is going to be pretty neat. Yeah, I'm excited for that. And then honestly, just to run around again. I really, I kind of feel my pain in my buddies who have torn their ACLs and all stuff like that. And they're like, man, it feels good to jog.
Hmm.
I'm just excited I'm just excited to get moving again. I'm excited for all of it. There's nothing really I could really narrow down.
Knock, you got any more questions or?
Nah, man. Rooting for your success, bro. Love hearing your story. I think it's important that other people hear, um, just the sentiment behind it all. It's super important. It's a gritty game, but if you love it, you love it, and obviously you love it, you'll do anything, and that's dope, man. And if you're ever in Johnstown, you need somebody to throw you a couple passes. I don't like to brag, but I can swing a little bit, just a little bit. And, you ever need
Yeah.
somebody to press you on the other side? I can do it too. So, absolutely,
Yeah.
man. I enjoyed this. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of got one more thing that I wanted to say to you guys, which was pretty cool. Just about Johnstown earlier, you guys are asking about, people around Johnstown, what kind of helped going up through and stuff. Everybody knows the name from Johnstown, G. Roy Simon, right?
Mhm.
Anybody that's involved in any type of athletics knows who G. Roy Simon is. He reached out to me a couple weeks ago. And I just wanted to kind of say, like, I appreciate everything that everybody in Johnstown does do for me. The support that I do have. And even it's getting noticed by guys that have done great things in Johnstown, like G. Roy himself. I was on a phone call with him the other day, and he knew more about me than I thought he was going to know. And just those little things is what kind of keeps me going. And I want to thank you guys because it's neat that you guys want to have me and talk to me about some stuff that my college career and my just athletic career in general. I think that that's awesome. And I just want to thank you guys for supporting and thank the town of Johnstown for looking after me as well.
Absolutely, man. We'll always have your back. Yeah, we'll always have your back. I do have just one last question, and it does kind of go back to Johnstown. So I think this will be pretty cool for the youngins to hear. So, like, what advice would you give back to, like, the youth of Johnstown or any guys that are looking to become that next Caleb Burke and move on to high level football or basketball, whatever it may be? Do you have any messages to them? Because you're a very well spoken individual. Some of the stuff that you talked about before, like your mindset, I think is second to none, especially for guys who come out of such a small town. So I think this would be a cool message if you have one to pass along to the Johnstown youth that kids could kind of look up to and idolize.
Yeah, a term that we use is be a sponge. Like I was telling you earlier, I was a vacuum. Like, be a sponge. As many times as my father and I have butt heads, I've always listened to him. There wasn't a time I didn't. Even though if he thought I wasn't, I listen to your elders, because they're the ones who know the way. But also do things that that aren't easy to retain more information. Go new places. If somebody's giving you an opportunity to go somewhere and work out or do something, go play in a tournament, just go do it. Even if you don't want to. That's kind of the name of the game, though. Doing stuff that you don't want to come out on top. And sometimes what I feel like now is some kids are just kind of starting to shy away from that. But you got to do the things that you don't want to. Go get that extra work. Go do your 2-a-day. Go do your 2-a-day workout if you have a trainer that's helping you out. I was God blessed by Jamel Felder, who came into Johnstown. I lived at his gym. I was down at his gym. I was down at Big Dog Built more than he was. I was down there more than I was even sleeping at home. You know what I mean? Just do everything you can so that you're not going to sit on the other end of the table when you're all said and done with college and everything, regretting that you didn't get your fair shot or do everything you could. Oh man, I could have been a great football player one day, but et cetera, et cetera. That's kind of my thing. Is I don't regret anything I've done. I'm thankful for everything, and I retain as much as I can from anybody. I love to learn, so that's my piece of advice.
That's a great fucking message right there. So the kids at home listening, make sure you be a sponge. But Caleb, we really do appreciate you hopping on, making some time. I know you're a busy man, but like we said, we're always going to support you, man. We'll be rooting you on. Any NFL team that you land on is going to be lucky. They're getting a dog who works his ass off. So we'll 100% be rooting for you and watching your story, continuing to talk about you. And anytime that you want to come back on, man, please feel free. It was awesome getting to, talk to you a little bit more in depth.
Oh yeah. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you guys, man, for real.
Mm-hmm. Of course. Absolutely, man. Well, enjoy the rest of your day, man. It's Saturday, so hopefully you have a little bit of an off day. Enjoy the NFL playoffs or whatever you're getting ready to do. And again, happy birthday. We know that was yesterday, but happy birthday again.
Thank you, brother.
Absolutely. Thanks, Caleb.
Take care.
Yep. See ya. All right, we're gonna move on now. For those of you who are still with us, man, Caleb he's that guy. He's dope.
That was a good time, bro. That was a really good time. Yeah. Enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah. His mindset, man. I really do hope a lot of kids from Johnstown listen to it and honestly, I hope they kind of try to seek advice from his dad or whoever, he was getting mentored by, because he speaks on a different level, and he's truly, truly passionate about the stuff that he has going on. And I really do mean it when I say it. Like, an NFL team that picks this dude up, takes a chance, whatever it may be, is going to get like a real dog for sure.
Absolutely. You can see it in this game, most importantly, but just hearing the behind the scenes, the work ethic, the 3 years without playing the game, that can't be easy on any,
Mhm.
so, like you said, we're rooting for him, and they will get a dog. Absolutely. That was dope.
Yeah, 100%. But we'll move on. We're going to catch up on some of the games that happened, about a week ago, a little bit over, but some great, great matchups. More specifically, I guess, just one game, but kicking it off with this one, the Miami Hurricanes, the U is kind of back, I guess. They're making me eat my words from earlier in the year when I thought that they weren't even going to make it, but they pull through. They beat Ole Miss 31-27. Hats off to the defense, especially those first two possessions. Ole Miss had it. I think they went 3-and-out both times and had negative yards. So they started out slow, which was able to help Miami kind of get the field goal, move down the field, play the possession game. And then when Miami needed Carson Beck the most on that last drive that he ran the touchdown in, he shut a lot of people up, including myself. Like, he was making very good throws. He wasn't doing the wrong thing, and he was being patient and giving him what the defense, or taking what the defense gives him.
Great game. It was a great game. I had fun watching that. I was with our boy Dion watching that game, rooting for just the color scheme of it. I mean, Ole Miss was great. I I don't know. They'll be okay. They'll be all right. But as far as the game goes, Trinidad Chambliss was awesome there in the fourth quarter. I mean, he was delivering strikes left and right. It didn't matter what the route was. It didn't matter how far downfield it was. Carson Beck, for a good portion of the game, they threw that in. He tip ball was intercepted, gave Ole Miss an opportunity there. And like you said, Mike, he looked great in the fourth quarter on that final drive, especially because he was throwing. He had guys open, man. He was underthrowing them, then he was overthrowing them, then he was throwing them out of bounds. So he had a little stretch during the game where he was struggling and couldn't figure it out. So he collected himself. 3 third down conversions there on that last drive. I mean, it was a 15-play drive, and just he completely took the air out of Ole Miss, especially their defensive line. And then he uses his legs to cap it off. So, can't say anything bad about Carson Beck. He has done everything that you want your quarterback to do in this playoff situation. And they've played 3 games now, right?
Yep.
So, that's impressive. That's what you want. If you're a scout, that's what you're looking at. So, Carson Beck, Miami, that defense. Oh, by the way, Tony, kid's incredible. Kid's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a beast. And I think what really comes down to it is third downs. I mean, Miami for the game was 11 of 19. Ole Miss could not get them off the field on fourth downs. They really couldn't generate a lot of pass rush with just their front four. So shout out to Miami's O-line. And then the time of possession. Miami had the ball 41 minutes to Ole Miss's 18, which is just absolutely crazy. Yeah, shout out to Trinidad Chambliss. It sucks that might have been the last game that we get to see him play in college. Like you said before we got on here, he is suing the NCAA to try to get that extra year eligibility. And then I also got to give a hats off to Kyron Lacey as well too, or Keywan Lacey, excuse me. Had that long touchdown run. He looked like he tweaked his hamstring, came back in, still ran for 103 yards on 11 carries. So yeah, shout out to Miami back in the national championship. I believe the first time since 2001, the year that they lost to Ohio State, I think was that last year that they were in it. So I know it's been a while, but shout out to them. They're playing a home game in the Miami Garden, so that's going to be crazy. The environment is going to be nuts. And then moving on to the other game of that weekend, this game was over at halftime. To be honest with you, Indiana just continues to prove that they are on another level. They're not the same old Indiana. They're not even the same Indiana as last year. They're way better than they were. They throttle the Oregon Ducks in a rematch of an earlier game this season, 56-14. to 22. I mean, it started from the first play of the game whenever Dante Moore threw that pick six. I mean, just an incredible play by Pond, the quarterback, which is funny. Pond, ducks usually swim in pond. He flips it around. He basically creates a wave and capsizes the Oregon Ducks. And shout out to, I know I'm skipping ahead here, but shout out to whoever I think it might have been like an equipment manager, maybe a coach after the game. He actually ended up giving Pond the football that he intercepted off Dante Moore to keep. So I thought that was pretty cool. But man, Indiana is just so good. Their defense is suffocating. They got a bunch of misfits, they call each other, and just after the ball, Fernando Mendoza didn't really have to do anything too crazy, but he threw for 177 yards, had 5 touchdowns to only 3 completions. And I believe this playoff run for them, I think he has more touchdown passes than incompletions in the 2 games that he's played. Just the hats off to them. They really made Oregon look very juvenile in this game. Like they weren't even on the same football field. Maybe a little bit more. Like it looked like the game that they played against Alabama the week prior.
Yeah, well, Dante Moore elected to stay back another year, and as much as I like Dante Moore, I spoke about him a lot throughout the season. He's got a lot of good tools in the bag.
Mm-hmm.
Good choice. I mean, he's not ready. I mean, if he was scared versus Indiana, I mean, he just couldn't hang on to the football. That offensive line was pretty good all year, man. But my goodness, what did they say in the longest yard? Mean machine. Mean
machine.
Indiana is. They are an absolute freaking. I don't know what they are. They're a monster. They really are. And Kurt Signetti, he's diabolical, and he does it with a straight face locked in. I mean, you could see eyes like it's just destiny, Mike. They're gonna win it all.
I hope so, man. That their front 4 is phenomenal. The 2 linebackers that they got are phenomenal. They had 3 sacks, 10 tackles for loss. Just dogs, like absolute dogs. They had 2 fumble recoveries. They had the pick 6 as well too. So shout out again, D'Angelo Pons, man. That dude had a great break on the ball. Shout out to Indiana. Shout out to the Western PA guy, Kurt Signetti. Just an absolute psycho. Wears a quarter zip with no shirt on underneath. You got to be wired different to do that. So that's my guy. So moving on, man. We got a great matchup coming up January 19th, Monday, 7:30 p.m. Miami playing the Indiana Hoosiers for the national championship. Just everybody that's listening, Knock, you could do it too. Close your eyes, go back 10 years, and tell someone in 10 years Indiana will be playing in the national championship. They would think you're on drugs. So right now, it is Indiana minus 8.5. Over under is 47.5. I'm going to just come out and say this. I'll show the viewers at home, I guess, too. You could unit shame me if you want. I already have a parlay in. I wasn't waiting. I took Indiana minus 8.5, and I took the over of 84.5. So right now I got some good odds. Payouts pretty high for how much I put onto it.
What was your over?
What'd you say?
What was the over?
48.5. It dipped down a little bit more. It's at 47.5 right now. I think the live line's at, but I took this, I believe last Monday, I went ahead and put this bet in. I didn't want to wait anymore. So got some good return on it. Figured why not? But like you said, Knock, it's just, I feel like Indiana is destined. I will be heartbroken if they lost. I do not want Miami to win this national championship. I think it would be even sweeter if Indiana wins and it's essentially a Miami home game with it being played at Hard Rock Stadium.
Yeah, and the gambler in me would tell you I'd be all over the plus 275 money line, the plus 8.5. And I've typically told the listeners to head in that direction, for a good portion of the year anyway. Listen, Miami's defensive line is good. Indiana's offensive line is unreal. I mean, stout. They are an absolute unit.
Mm-hmm.
On top of the fact that, Indiana's got 2 running backs in Roman Hemby and Kalen Black.
Yep.
Elijah Surratt, for Mendoza. So I don't know. I don't know, man. It's not that Miami can't do this. You know, I just foresee
Mhm.
a blowout for some reason.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It'll be cool to see. I'm really really looking forward to Indiana's offense versus Miami's defense because, like you said, Miami's front four is phenomenal, studs across the board. Indiana's offensive line is also phenomenal, also studs across the board. Some big boys. The nice matchup. Fernando Mendoza has 8 touchdowns and I believe only 5 incompletions in these playoffs. So they're going to have to try to rattle him, try to make him turn the ball over. It's going to be a hard task. And then not only do you have to worry about Fernando Mendoza, you have to worry about Hemby and Black. Black is 39 yards away from 1,000. Hemby's already over 1,000 right now. So that's going to be interesting. And then if you take a look at the wide receivers, at the beginning of the year, there were only 2 guys that you really had to worry about. That was Omar Cooper Jr. and Elijah Surratt. Fast forward to the Penn State game, Elijah Surratt can't go. Who steps up? Charlie Becker. This dude has 30 catches for 614 yards. He's averaging over 20 yards per reception, and he had another long, great toe tap catch against Oregon. So you got 3 guys right there you got to worry about. They got EJ Williams as well too, and then their quarterback Nowaski, I believe is his last name. So not a lot of yards put up by him, but he has some good touchdowns. He could block a little bit as well too. And then on the other side, it's going to be interesting to see how that Miami offensive line holds up against this Indiana defense as well too, because they are legit. They're led by a linebacker, Hardy, in sacks. He has 8 sacks. Their other linebacker, Isaiah Jones, he has 7 sacks. Then you start getting down to the defensive line with Tyree Tucker at 6, Stephen Daly at 5.5. So I know Miami fans, if you're listening, you're not going to be happy about me like saying all this, but they're going to get after Carson Beck. There's no doubt about it. He's going to have to be the key factor for Miami to succeed. I don't think that they could get away with just running the ball basically like they did against Ole Miss and against Texas A&M. I think it's going to have to be a mix. You're going to have to put the ball in Carson Beck's hands, and he's going to have to prove people wrong like he did against Ole Miss on that final drive. So it's going to be really, really interesting. I'm going to love to see what they utilize Malachi Tony in, if they're handing him the ball a little bit on some jet sweeps, what they're doing to create him some space, RPOs, whatever it may be. And then I think another guy who's going to really have to step up is Keelan Marion. He's going to have to be a big game out there as well, too. He's a great wide receiver, has over 700 yards on the season, only 2 touchdowns, but he's a guy that could go out there and get you some yards. So I'm ready for this game. I'm so excited for it. It feels like it's been 18 years. I really wish that the NFL wouldn't play Saturday games and it would be tonight, or I wish the game was yesterday on Friday. I hate that it's on Mondays because the game time, it says 7:30. We know damn well that this game isn't kicking off until 8 o'clock, and we know there's going to be a large halftime presentation or whatever it may be. And before you know it, I'm laying my head down to bed, getting ready to wake up for work the next day, and it's going to be 12:30, 1 o'clock.
Yeah. I never really understood why it was on a Monday night either.
I hate it. It's so stupid.
But speak your truth, brother. I can only imagine how many people agree with you on that. Especially when we go to work.
Yeah. Yes. This is not our full-time gigs. All right. We are still working people as well too that love college football. So, Knock, any takes on this game? Who do you got? Who do you like? What are you taking? I think we know already based off what you said, but
yeah.
Who knows? You're known to throw a little wrench in there and turn some things around.
Man, well, again, I'm gonna stick with Indiana. I think they win comfortably. I'm talking 10 points. I expect a big game from Elijah Surratt. I haven't seen him. He scores. That's
yeah.
Side prediction for me. He's going to score.
Okay.
So yeah.
I got you. Yeah, he's one of he's a target that he likes, that Mendoza likes in the red zone specifically. He has 15 touchdowns on the year. Omar Cooper has 13, and then EJ Williams 6, Charlie Becker 2. So there's a lot of different weapons that he could look for in this. So yeah, man, I'm ready. I'm fully on board for it. I will be sitting with my feet up on the couch tuning in for this. So don't text, don't call. I'm busy on Monday. Don't think about hitting me up on that. But yeah, that just about wraps it up for that. Knock, another thing that I kind of wanted to talk about. We mentioned this a little bit, but for the people at home, Darian Mensah is transferring from Duke. It looks like he's going to be landing at Miami. That's the big thing. It sounds like he's going to be the guy who takes over after Carson Beck. But the craziest thing, and if you guys want to know, I guess, a little bit more about this, go over to our TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I put up a video on this. Darian Mensah, I believe, less than a month ago, basically did a LeBron James style The Decision and said how he was returning to Duke. There's no other factors being played in it. He wants to be there. He wants to win there. And then, poof, he's gone. Unbelievable. I said it. If you're a Miami fan, you got to be fired up. If you're a Duke fan, motherfuck everybody. Like, they brought in some of the tools. Duke's football page, I think just yesterday, early in the morning or the day before, put up like this trio, and it was Darian Mensah and 2 wide receivers that were coming back. And I mean, if you're a teammate of them, I'm speaking as like a former football player, how I would feel. It's fuck him forever, to be honest with you. Again, we've talked about it multiple times. I want these kids to get paid, get the money, do this, but like, I'm still a loyal guy as well too, right? Like, you don't tell a university and do a LeBron James style decision, say that you're coming back. There's no rumblings, and then the last day that the transfer portal is open, you have to submit your name before midnight, 11:59 p.m. You have to put your name in by, and you leave them out high and dry on the last day of the portal, to where now they're starting over. You just won an ACC championship with them. And I don't know. I would have respected him a little bit more if he didn't also come out and put like a Twitter post being like, Duke fans, like, I love you guys. I love the university. I just feel like I had to do what's best for me. And come on there and basically just write, you know what? Fuck you, Duke. Miami offered me so much money that if I turn it down, I'm a fucking idiot. And I would respect you a lot more. But I don't know, man. This would rub me the wrong way if I was a teammate. I'd no respect I wouldn't have for him. And again, it's who are you going to call, man? There's no oversight for this shit happening. The NCAA did it to himself, and it's essentially what I believe is really hurting the sport and killing the sport. And again, I'm all in favor of the transfer portal. I'm all in favor of getting kids paid, but you cannot look me in my eyes and tell me that it's not tampering. And if you're going to say, well, the agent was calling around, it was the agent's fault, well, then there should be some legal obligations that he has to go through for this tornado whirlwind that we're going through right now.
And I agree with you 100% because, I'm going to try to look at it from his perspective for a moment. Again, I'm not mad at him for transferring, but you're right. So it's how you go about it. You're giving somebody your word. I'm a firm believer that your word is everything in this world, and you're committing to the school. I'm not really mad at him for going to Miami. Let's say he doesn't give them his word. Let's say he just hits the transfer portal and says, I'm going to Miami. Maybe they offer him whatever. I would do it from his perspective for this reason. Look at how he balled at Tulane. I'm pretty sure that they beat USC in a pretty not a weak bowl game. It wasn't a.
It was a BCS. Would have been it was a Cotton Bowl, I think, or something like that.
Okay. He transfers to Duke. Duke's defense this year was not that great. It wasn't very good. They're not going to get the recruits. They're not going to get the transfers. I did just go out and win the ACC championship game, though. So from his perspective, he's probably looking at it like, well, I just did all that. I probably won't go any higher at Duke. Might win a couple more games, you know what I mean? But Duke, it's going to be hard for a team like that to make it into the college football playoff more times often than not, right? And then Miami's in the national championship. They're going to start building that shit up again, and they're going to get those guys. I still have Malachi Tony. I could throw the ball to next year. So definitely a few. I can see from his perspective and his thought process of why he may have made that decision. Obviously, taking the bag out of it. Most kids these days, most anybody, somebody threw $1.8 million in my face right now, Mike, depending on what it was, something like this. If they threw us 1.8 million, I mean, shit, we might have to really seriously think about that, so.
Oh, yeah.
It's not something you just guarantee say no to. So,
yeah.
He goes there. Listen, the grass isn't always greener. You've stated this on numerous occasions. And if he doesn't go ball, you're going to screw yourself, kids. So, yeah, go ball.
Yeah, it's yeah, man. I like you said, I think it's just the word how he did it is what's fucked up. And I mean, you really can't, like, from what I'm hearing, like, if the numbers are correct and the package is correct, like, it is crazy just because this is like essentially Miami's Hail Mary. They struck out on all the quarterbacks that you thought were going to go there with, potentially Sam Levitt, Dylan Raiola, whoever it might have been. They really don't have a backup plan. And it does. I mean, I guess this is where it kind of sucks too, because you go out and you get all these high recruits and stuff like that. You want to try to give them a chance. And then it's like, you're just going on to something. It's just like a QB rental portal, essentially, is basically what it is. But I think there's got to be definitely some changes. I think I was reading Yahoo Sports maybe might have put it up. I think they are going to try to look and see what the contract states and if there's anything binding in there that he's not allowed to do this. So moving forward, I think that there should be some sort of contract signings and held to it. And then also, I think the NCAA, they put out, I would have to go find it again. I saw it again yesterday. They put out basically a thing of what, the tampering stuff looks like. And again, they're not holding anybody to that. There's so much, and it's not even just Miami. I'm sorry for them catching a stray with this stuff happening, but there's other schools, there's other big time programs, Michigan, Texas, all those schools, they're tampering. There's kids who enter the transfer portal and 10 hours later, they're committed to a school. You're telling me they weren't in talks with them already before they even go take a visit? So I think they need to put their foot down. The NCAA, they're basically a bunch of pussies. They don't want to have to deal with this shit, even though they made their bed and they're laying in it. So I don't really know where we go from here. I think something has to happen before college football as a whole is basically just ruined for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, the NCAA is in shambles, and there's I'm pretty sure there's still about 6,000 football players that are still in the transfer portal. And
yeah, there's a shit ton because it closed yesterday, but they still have time to commit elsewhere. Like, they don't have to be committed by last night or anything like that. So there's still a shit ton of them, to your point.
Okay.
Yeah. Knock, anything else, man? I know this is a longer episode, so we appreciate everybody who's listening, sticking with us. But we had to have our boy Caleb on here to speak through his college career, his upbringing, and what's next for him going on to the NFL. But Knock, anything else that you wanted to kind of touch on?
Nah, man, if you're gonna watch these NFL games, do it with caution. Don't let it stress you out. Don't let it get you upset. And the same thing with the national championship game on Monday. There's going to be one winner and there's going to be one loser, and some fans are going to be happy, some fans aren't going to be happy, and that's just how the cookie crumbles. So don't cry on us now.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well said, Knock. Everybody, again, we really appreciate you for tuning in. As always, go subscribe to our YouTube, go follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Threads, whatever it may be that you utilize, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that good stuff. And yeah, we'll be back for another episode after the national championship. So make sure you stick with us. And then we got a lot of good stuff coming for this off season too. So thank you all again, and we'll talk to you guys again soon.